Okay.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. It's the Chicken Box. That's right, with two X's. Yep, that's means you're hungry. I'm Kevin Impeccable Peck, and we are in for another fantastic episode as we talk about Black people versus the Metaverse.
Yes.
It seems like it came out of nowhere, but did it really come out of nowhere? Misha Green, how are you, my millennial friend? You're still my millennial friend, just in case you didn't know.
I'm gonna always be your millennial friend. It would hurt my feelings if I was no longer your millennial friend. But yes, I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. It is another Thursday to get on the box and share our truths. And
Absolutely. If you have never tuned in and you don't know what a chicken box is, if you're from Baltimore and DC, shame on you. Because the chicken box is full wings and fries. We all know about that. You call it different things in different parts of the country. Some people put salt, pepper, and ketchup. But this is where, powered by the Afro-American newspaper, you get to speak your truth. This is when you stand up on the box, just like the little chicken friend over there, and you speak your truth about what the topic is. But we need to get educated on what's happening around us, Black people versus the metaverse. And again, we are powered by the Afro American newspaper, working on 130 years of informing, inspiring, and educating African Americans all over the world. So I'm excited about this conversation, and a lot of people are just grasping crypto, right? We've had a technology issue, and they're just beginning to figure out what crypto is. Some people have wallets, some people don't. Hopefully, if you want to learn crypto 101, go back a couple episodes, but share us on Facebook. Somebody today wants to know, what is Facebook changing there into the metaverse? I mean, we've heard about these virtual reality companies, and now Facebook has changed its name to Meta. Just, it's blowing a lot of people's mind. You know, they used to be the third largest continent. That's right. Facebook used to have more people than almost all of the continents out there. But you know, they also own Instagram, and they own something called Oculus, which is something that people put on their face to go into virtual reality. For me, I usually get dizzy when that happens. But last week we had John on. Misha, you want to introduce John? Come on back. Welcome back to the Chicken Box, John.
welcome back, John. Yes, John was on last week's episode of the Chicken Box and he broke down crypto for us. He is a crypto expert and social media content creator. And so he was able to share some of his expertise in the world of crypto and how he educates the masses for all of us here on Afro's The Chicken Box. So if you tuned into Chicken Box last week, you got to see and hear John's crypto expertise. If you didn't, it's there live in living color. As long as Facebook and YouTube exist, that episode will be there for you. So make sure you go check it out. But if not, uh, before you go back and look for it, if you did not get to check it out, tune in today because I think John has some good insight for us today about what is the metaverse itself. Maybe even a little bit on Facebook's change to calling the company itself Meta. So we're super happy to have John back. And now I'm not all choppy like I was last week.
Right. The internet is everything, right? You think it's nothing, but it's everything when you especially want to go on the video. John, we can let you say one word. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to be here. This is a nice topic, and the more I'm studying it myself, I'm just learning so much. And I can see this as a part of the future, far as the millennials, and just getting involved with this metaverse and see where it can take us, basically.
Absolutely. And Dr. Draper, our CEO of the Afro, has joined us. She always represents for the boomer millennials. She's got a foot in everywhere. But how are you today?
I'm good. I'm a millennial boomer, though. So, hello, John. Good to see you. Misha, Kevin, glad to be with you on today for such an exciting topic. So, I'm going to be more in the listening mode today so we can find out about this whole transformation to metaverse.
Right. Well, we want to expose that to people. Please hit the share button. It's Black people versus the metaverse, and so we
The
want to get a basic understanding. And so as we prepared for this show, I talked to a lot of friends. Some people know, like all my kids know, but some people know. I mean, movies like like Matrix. That's experienced. What is it? Ready Player One. Has these kind of movies where people kind of immerse themselves into the metaverse. So what I'm going to do, we're going to start out with someone that I found on the internet that I think can explain it, and then we're going to go in and we're going to comment from there. Stay tuned. Can everybody see my screen? Absolutely. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to take a few minutes and just listen to this brother explain the metaverse in a nutshell.
So what is the metaverse? I have a few points broken down so we can easily understand what the metaverse is in simple terms, even for a beginner. So let's check it out. And so the metaverse, in a nutshell, is where the physical becomes digital and the virtual becomes reality. The metaverse will digitize our everyday world as we know it. And not only that, the metaverse gives a marketplace for physical things in the digital world. And so the metaverse is the future of the internet and much, much more. So we can see that the metaverse doesn't consist of just one thing. It consists of multiple things: entertainment, gaming, business, work, goods, services. I mean, you name it. Everything that we do today will be put into the metaverse as we know it. And if we just briefly break down the metaverse word, metaverse is a two-part word, meaning it has a prefix. If you look at the word meta, it means beyond. And then when you add verse, that's a universe. And so that stands for beyond universe. And so the metaverse is building a digital world beyond the world that we know it. And so, in simplest terms, that is what a metaverse is in a nutshell. All right, so now let's dive into how crypto, NFTs, and gaming partake in the metaverse. Now, the first and easiest thing is cryptocurrency. We all understand what crypto is. Now, crypto is essentially the currency for the metaverse. So anything that you want to pay for, you will be able to use cryptocurrency to pay for that. Rather, that's real estate, building worlds, buying worlds, whatever it may be, you will be able to use cryptocurrency to pay for it. Rather it's NFTs, rather it's, gaming pieces, anything that's in the metaverse, cryptocurrency will be used for payment because it is programmable digital money. And this is why it has so many different use cases in the world today, which brings us to the second thing, NFT. And so if you don't know what non-fungible tokens are, which is the abbreviation of NFT, let's briefly take a look at what it is. And so an NFT is a digital item created, sold, or purchased on an open market. And so NFTs are digital scarcity owned by individual without control of any centralized body. And so for a couple examples, they can be collectibles, audio files, artwork, gaming items, you name it. So essentially anything that can be put on the internet can be minted and put into pretty much an NFT and sold on the open market. So how does this pertain to the metaverse? Well, when we look at gaming, which we're about to get into right now, gaming, as we know, is evolving as we speak. We have play to earn gaming, where essentially anyone can play the game and be incentivized just for playing it, which is also a pretty good thing because now it gives people another way to earn money for enjoying something they love to do. And so NFTs, as we saw, is pretty much digital scarcity. And so when you look at top games like Fortnite, for example, you can buy skins, and let's just say all of those now become NFTs because right now we only can save them, on our save profile. But if you put that into NFTs, it now allows it to be potentially sold to other people who can't get those skins. And it just creates an entire marketplace for other people to interact in the way they couldn't before. And so, one quick example, when we look at the digital world in the metaverse and we're interacting with each other with our own personal avatars, we will be able to, purchase NFTs with cryptocurrency in that digital world. And this is the power of the metaverse, which brings us to kind of the last thing, and we already kind of covered it is gaming. Gaming is the future. And as you know, gaming is working on implementing all five senses into the game that we use, which is our sight, our hearing, our smell, our touch, and also our taste. That will be crazy to implement all of that into gaming using blockchain technology. And this is what's being built as we speak today. Now, keep in mind, we are some years away from a full-time metaverse, but this is what's being built today. And this is something to definitely keep our mind on as investors. It is also how the world is changing as we know, because everything we do today, whether it's work, whether it's just pure entertainment, it will be done through the metaverse. And
I'm sorry, I'm on mute. I was all caught up. Mike the Investor. If you just tuned in, this is Black People versus the Metaverse, and we are trying to break it down. I think Mike did a fantastic job. You know, I mean, like when I look for people of color to explain the things that are going on, I really had to dig for Mike. You know what I mean? And so it was a lot of explanations out there, but which tells me that we really need to just get on the ball about what's happening around us. All of the crypto clues are in our face, and for us to ignore them and say, I don't understand it, won't be an excuse as it moves forward. It's just like when the word processor changed from the typewriter, and the typewriter and the word processor then changed to a computer. You can't keep saying that you don't understand it. You have to really seek the knowledge so that you can be up on what is. They're calling it the new gold rush, new finance for everybody, and those who understand it will be able to participate in this new world, in this new gold rush. You might not have owned a lot of land now, but maybe in this new metaverse, you may own the whole block. You may even own the whole metaverse. So let's get into the conversation. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Byron, Jamel, Jewel, anybody else listening who please hit share. This is Black People versus the Metaverse. You know, when a big company like Facebook says we are changing our entire name to Meta, and everybody looks at them like, okay, you're like, what's going on here? Anybody with kids, you know, your kids play these games, Roblox, they play Fortnite, they play all of these things, and they are buying skins, they're buying different things in these games with tokens, right? Tokens that they use and asking you for money so that they can buy something for a game. They are already participating in the crypto world because they're taking their tokens in their games. And so they're already immersed, this generation, in this reality. So it's not going to be a hard switch for this generation. But for those who came before them, who didn't grow up with these games, we have to get on the ball and understand it. As crazy as it may seem, we all got immersed into virtual world during the pandemic, whether we wanted to Zoom or not. Everybody's on mute, in case you didn't know. Maybe you do know. Everybody is got immersed in Zoom and all of the virtual teleworking, and businesses have already changed their mindset of how we're going. So I'm going to turn it up. What are your thoughts on what the gentleman said about the metaverse? Did you guys get that screen? Maybe I can pull it back up. Anybody want to jump in?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think it is interesting to hear the perspective that the metaverse is truly any and everything that we're buying and spending money with already in the online world. You know, I think it's so easy to think of the metaverse in terms that we have not quite reached, and to realize that we all really work within the metaverse already, I think is good to know, telling, and also gives us, I think, a bit of an alarm on in terms of where we're going. I also think that we, in doing a lot of the research for today's episode, I think that there's there's so much overuse of the term metaverse that and having learned that I think that we sort of overcomplicate it and make it scarier than it truly is. Just like with crypto, it's overused without really explaining to people what it is. And so it becomes a scary thing as opposed to something tangible and something that we already are working with.
Absolutely. John, you're on mute. You might have to hit your phone or your tablet to unmute. Can you see that? All right. Yeah.
Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's your thoughts about where we're going with the metaverse?
Me personally, after doing research and watching Mark Zuckerberg actually, break it down to show some imaging and some video concepts of what it could potentially be. I see it as a way of us as Blacks, especially, seeing the technology, getting more familiar. You hit a key part, and the guy hit a key part about the gaming. I'm in the gaming, and I didn't realize that, the tokens. I'm used to tokens with cryptocurrency, not realizing that they already implemented that in the games, and which I'm witness of that. Cause I've actually played Call of Duty in different games, and didn't realize the comparison with that and how the gaming system's already sync with the blockchain. And I see us as Blacks, we need to capitalize on this. This would be a way to generate income, get involved with Metaverse. I could say when I first heard Metaverse and I heard the term Meta, I'm familiar with a crypto wallet that came out on one of the first cryptocurrency wallets that allow people to use smart contracts, which is MetaMask. So now I can kind of see how it's syncing, because MetaMask is one of the wallets out there, my brother, that's got a lot of users, it got a lot of reviews on it. So and of course it's connected to the blockchain. So I'm just seeing all this come together. It just amazes me. VR, virtual reality, that is huge within itself. So many ways people can capitalize on that as well. So seeing them bring all of this together with social media, I think this is a great move. Our technology, and us as Blacks, especially, let's capitalize on this. Let's see how we can build money and build an audience where we can definitely reach the young people and to actually get them involved and basically turn their passion, right, gaming, into money. And that'll be a way to generate extra money within the families and the households. So that's basically what I wanted to say. And thank you for
it won't be going out and cutting grass anymore. They will be earning money doing something they like, huh? Dr. Draper, what's the metaverse?
So when I think about metaverse, I think it's an opportunity to level the playing field. That's what technology, that's what technological revolutions do. It's not just for the rich, right? Not just for those who have the connections anymore. Not just for those, but I mean, and I'm not knocking it because I got plenty of them, but not just for those who have a degree. It is something that levels the playing field. So a lot of times as African Americans, we'll complain and say, well, this isn't for us, and somebody held us back here and we couldn't do this. Well, this is not the case with Metaverse. It levels the playing field. And Kevin, I appreciated your comment about digital natives. So our young people are digital natives. Before they can walk or talk, somebody puts a tablet, puts a cell phone in their hands. And so if you ever I've watched 15-month-old, they figure out how to work a tablet, and they can't even speak a sentence. And so they're digital natives, but then there are those of us who are not digital natives, right? If we didn't grow up in gaming or we didn't grow up doing it, but it levels the playing field. And so when you look at what's happening with Metaverse and how the on-ramps really are there, yes, there's always going to be somebody that seems to be further ahead of you, but it's something you can catch up with relatively quickly, and you don't have to have $1 million to invest to get into it. So I think that it's going to, so you take the combination of what's happening with Metaverse and combine it with AI and virtual reality and all of these other things that are going on, it's going to blow up. And so even for the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens and all of those things, I read an article just this morning that Steve Jeppy, who has the original Snow White poster, because he collects comic books and all of that, He's here in Baltimore. He didn't think at first that, NFTs, because we don't know about it, but he's thinking now, this is a wonderful opportunity to make some money, right? Anytime somebody pays $230,000 just to have a video of LeBron James dunking against the Miami Heat, NFTs are going someplace. So that's another whole discussion, but I think that this is going to be huge, and as John said, an opportunity for us African Americans to get in on the game. No pun intended.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken Box. We are Black people versus the Metaverse. Do you know about it? Have you began to learn about it? Last week we talked about cryptocurrency, getting your wallet, your exchange, really learning where finance is going on the blockchain, how the blockchain is changing the future, how it's decentralizing finance. And this is just another extension as these metaverses are created. I said it's all been over what? I think it's like $1 billion worth of real estate. I'm not sure the number. Don't quote me on the number, but it's been a lot of money spent on digital real estate already. And supposedly you will be able to transform yourself into this virtual reality. Like instead of us meeting here on Zoom, we could all meet somewhere in Paris and walk around. And it reminds me of the Wii to Nintendo. This is for you gaming people out there, but how you create your little avatar, but everybody will have an avatar, I'm told. And I'm going along for the ride. But I think for us to turn a deaf ear to it might be a mistake as the world moves forward into the future of this digital revolution. So
Kevin, let me add, I think it also is going to raise a whole another level of industry in terms of security, because as people create avatars, they're going to create clones, and so this, all of the cyber security and digital security around this, it's going to be a whole new industry in that direction as well.
Absolutely. Rico, thank you for your comments. I think it's Nam, is it? I'm pronouncing that right. Jewel, everybody else tuning in, what we seek to do is expose what is happening out there. Now, what you decide to do with it is going to be your choice. But if you don't do any kind of research or get any kind of understanding, because they're removing coins now, right? You're going into places where they say they're only going to take card only. In a minute, you got players getting paid, entertainers getting paid by Bitcoin. You have big establishments like Staples Center turning to crypto.com. Nobody would think of that before the Staples Center is like, that's where Magic, that's where Kobe, that's where Shaq, that's where, you don't think of the Staples Center has been a staple in the LA community and in the world for sports for years. But now it's crypto.com arena. So all of the clues from big business come down, and the smaller business and the entrepreneurs can take clues from those. Take nuggets from those clues, and so you can find your niche now and become an expert now and experience part of this digital revolution. It's going to be game changing, everybody. What are they saying, Misha, out on the digital streets? This is the powered by the Afro-American newspaper, The Chicken Box, where you speak your truth, and everybody's opinion is welcome. And this is a place that you can say, I hate it. I hate all about the technology. I don't want to change. I don't even want to use my cell phone. Just put me on the flip phone. I got a relative like that still uses a flip phone. Anyway, and that's all they want to do is be with the flip phone. But Misha, what are they saying out there on the digital streets as this term metaverse begins to really circulate, in full power?
Yes. Well, again, I have to remind everybody that these are solely stereotypes, not views of the Afro. And in most cases, these are direct quotes taken from offline and online. So now you all know, and if you tuned in earlier, there was a great description of what the metaverse is. But just if you just tuned in, or just as a reminder, let me share the definition of what the metaverse is. And in a nutshell, it is a hypothesized version of the internet, and it supports a 3D virtual environment through conventional personal computing or virtual and augmented reality headsets. That could be virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, all these sort of different versions of VR and AR. And we're already doing it, as many people have said already, between we and these, I mean, even Peloton and these workout fitness things have sort of an AR version of it. So that's just the reminder. So as I go into the stereotypes, keep that definition in your brain. And so people say, Black people, this is your chance. We could own our country / states and cities in the metaverse. Don't be late to the party. This is in all caps. Someone else said, I saw academics say that the metaverse and Facebook / Instagram isn't for Black people, which is fine. When has tech advancement ever favored minorities? Someone else said, people want to know, who are the Black people creating and developing in the metaverse? Someone else said, tech companies only use Black people for marketing in the metaverse, but don't value them. And then another person tweeted with this beautiful picture of a Black woman sort of as the metaverse, that Black people are in the future. So those are some of the things being said on the digital streets about the metaverse.
Black people, we are in the future. We are in the present. We are how we think about ourselves, right? How you envision yourself. Are you learning to develop? Are your kids learning how to develop? Are they learning how to code? Are you pushing the STEM for a new generation? Are we standing by just watching? I mean, everybody, I guess, you remember when I was little, everybody said, I want to be a fireman, a policeman. You know what I mean? I want to be a football. It was when you ask somebody when they're little what they want to be. What are the generations now? What are you hearing, John? What are the children today saying that they want to be when they grow up? Are you hearing anything?
Yeah. Far as some are still saying they want to be firemen, policemen. Some want to be, famous athletes when they grow up. It's rare far as what I'm hearing, it's rare do you say, well, some want to be the next Obama, or the next Bill Gates, or the next Russell Simmons. You know what I'm saying? Like it's rare. But I believe they gear towards being inventors or creative, and getting this NFT stuff. I think that's gonna make a difference.
Absolutely. Dr. Draper, what do you have a lot of young people that you're around. What do you
Yeah,
hear?
I do have a lot of young people hanging around. And like John said, some still want to do the same things, Kevin, that you said you heard when you were younger. And there are young people who want to do something in the world of technology, the ever-changing world of technology. They watch the CSIs and the FBIs and they see, some of this right on the screen and say, you know what, we could be that forensic scientist that uses all the computers to figure things out. And so the sky is the limit. And I think they're not so young people as well who are thinking about, maybe they might shift into this. I think that while we're on the cutting edge of metaverse, we're not just in the universe, we're in a metaverse. And with all of the things that are confronting us, I think the possibilities are going to be limitless, and there'll be new things that will crop up in terms of career paths. I'm just hoping that somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to be a leader in this as well, and a creator.
Absolutely. As we have this conversation, and just reading some of your stereotypes of where are the Black people in the metaverse, and do we create technology for it? We might not have created the phone, but if you go back to, George Washington Carver, he created a bunch of things, you know what I mean? And we have several African Americans that are in the engineering and tech field that continually create things that probably you don't even know, that help the phone work, that help the internet work. And maybe they're just behind the scenes and don't know, but it's a lot of, we have brain power beyond this verse, you guys. We are on another level. But here's the question: as these new digital verses, metaverses get created, will our businesses be there? Right? Like, if there's a land that's the popular metaverse that everybody's in, when you go down the street, will you see our Black businesses? Will Black Wall Street be there? The Afro will be there.
Oh, it will be there.
We will be there. We have for 130 years, as every technology has changed. While other families in 1892 were making horseshoes, we were thinking about how to get information in 1892 to our community. And so our community will be in the metaverse. Our community, like John said, he's a big time gamer. All my kids are gamers. I'm a gamer. A lot of people I know that are gamers, and they are already participating in this kind of new world, and they're already using crypto, like I said earlier. This is a vast, broad topic, you guys, of everything that's changing. And we wanted to touch a little bit more on NFTs again, which were non-fungible tokens, right? And you said something about like people are creating art and making it a digital piece of art that they own. Because once you own this NFT, nobody can refute the authorship. So musicians, artists, designers, creators are loving NFTs in a way because that's like the new copyright for them. And now they're taking, I was like, well, what are you going to do with all this digital art? Well, now they're going to take it and they're going to put it up in their new digital home. It's so much going on about the NFT. Jump in, anybody. What since last week?
It's like Monopoly on steroids or something.
Do the kids still play Monopoly?
Yeah, people still play Monopoly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I played it's amazing.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, it's amazing you say that, because I got the new Monopoly with the debit cards. So they literally got rid of the paper, and it's much funner. You swipe to put the card up there and pay. It's amazing. Yeah. So
okay, so it's no.
Yes,
So I don't know if this happened in the Black community only, but you know how we used to throw the money down on free parking, all of the fines, and you hope that you landed on free parking so you can call yourself hitting the line. Anyway, yeah. So it's a very, very interesting moment in time.
Yeah, I think the other thing, Kevin, though, is just like with the evolution of the computer, because we're just talking about it more, doesn't mean it just started.
Absolutely.
So this has been going on. So if you look at the history of the term metaverse, it comes from the early 1990s, right? And so it was coined by a guy named Neil Stephenson. Give a little history. In 1992, in a novel called Snow Crash, and that's where humans were interacting with avatars, through a 3D world. And so metaverses have been in movies and in novels, right? Meet George Jetson.
Right.
Had all kinds of things going on. And so this is a business opportunity, though. It's more than just the capitalization of, well, I shouldn't use the word capitalization. It's more than just looking at social media on steroids. It really is an economic benefit. And for the Afro, Kevin, you mentioned about the Afro and NFTs and Metaverse. We have one of the most, if not the most extensive Black newspaper archives in the world. So we have 4 million photographs, some that were never published. We've got recordings between Thurgood Marshall and my grandfather, Carl Murphy. I've got original Booker T. Washington letters where Booker T. Washington was encouraging the founder of the Afro, my great-grandfather, to teach, to say something about Baltimore schools teaching Black history. He called it Negro history in the schools. These are original signed letters, things that can become NFTs. I'll take bids now.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. But when we're ready, it'll be out there.
Oh, it's going to be a gallery of NFTs. We've been talking about it. We've been working on it. Thank you, Craig Talley, for asking that question. But we've always, been proud of our technological advances throughout the years, and we wanted just to share this Black People versus the Metaverse, just to get everybody thinking. Get you to do some more research, get you to, if you're going to get your, he said he wants to make his bid now. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're going to have to wait.
Okay. Yeah, all right, Tally. The opening bid for the Booker T. Washington letter, because we only have 3 of them, right, on the NFT. The opening bid's going to probably be in 6 figures, Tally. So if you serious, go ahead and put it there.
Absolutely.
Let's see if we get a little bit more going right here, and we'll make it happen. And you'll be the proud owner. You're gonna hang it right in your metaverse, in your digital library, right on the wall.
The Chippy Bear says she loves technology. Bring it, guys. Just begin to do some. This is I don't want to call it research, because that's kind of like you searching it again. But begin to just search for information about where this is going, and so we can be ahead of. So it's not the digital divide. It's not the metaverse divide this time. It's not the crypto divide in finance. It is we're above everything, and creating these new worlds ourselves. You know what I mean? Why is it only one certain thing on television? Why is it only one Black entertainment? You know what I mean? It's way more than that. We are such a diverse people that we are creatives as well. So we can create the future as we speak. We can create the future as we speak. See the way my bank account is set up is okay. Anyway, I got that. Anyway, when you have an insider track, Craig Talley. If you really want this Booker T. Washington, we'll make it happen even before we convert it to an NFT. But I mean, people are going on Photoshop, and what was it? The invisible statue NFT sold for a crazy amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
A guy just went and stood outside and took a picture and said he was standing next to the invisible statue, and that was the NFT. Look it up, and this thing is going crazy. Everybody's moving. All of these wallets and exchanges, Crypto.com, Coinbase, everybody is moving to the NFT world. Figure it out. You probably have an NFT. You might have family NFTs. Those first drawings that you did as a child. I love mommy. Whatever those are. They might be family NFTs. Maybe worth something. Technology is moving fast. We're moving fast. Hope you're moving fast with it. Do we have an Afro fact this week?
We do indeed. We do indeed.
I just wanted to jump. I'm jumping around. Guys, we're going from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. But after you say the Afro fact, I'll touch on Web 3.0, and then we'll wrap, if that works. John, you got anything before we do this Afro fact that's burning on your heart?
Yeah, you can tell something burning. Yeah, before you, I did some more research this morning, and they were even talking about this metaverse is going to somehow incorporate 3D printing, which got my attention, because if people imagine things and they create NFTs, and we know the power of 3D printing, like you could get people printing buildings right now through 3D printing. Absolutely. So having that as a part of this, that's going to be huge. because people taking their ideas of the creativity and making like they're making their own furniture and this and be able to 3D print that. Oh, that's if we in a whole nother that's a whole nother world, man. And to see how that can be involved with this as well, that's gonna make be huge there.
Absolutely. Afro.com. We've been around for I don't even know how many years, but I just like to say it because we were there before USA Today. And so I like to brag that we had the domain for so many years. I was on the phone with GoDaddy. They were like, "How'd you get that name?" I was that's such a cool name. I'm like, well, we're 100-something years old, buddy. He's like, oh wow. So anyway, we're ahead, guys. Come on, we gotta think ahead. We gotta not always say, why am I not? And just be there. You gotta show up to the party and know that you belong in and at the table. As a matter of fact, you can create the table. God didn't give us tables, he gave us trees. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing.
So Kevin, I'm wondering, before Misha shares the Afro fact, or do you want to do it afterwards? There are some concerns that people do have about Metaverse that we might want to just put out there.
Put them out there. You
want her to do the Afro fact first or the concerns first?
Let's get it. I'd rather hear the concern. The fact might
be. All right. Misha?
Yeah, no, there are some definite concerns regarding the metaverse. Some people say the concept of the metaverse itself, as I talked about earlier, is overhyped, over-marketed. We use it too much in public relations campaigns and things of the sort, but that's because it's around. And so there's, as Dr. Draper talked about before, concerns about information privacy and cybersecurity and how that will be regulated. There's also concerns about problematic social media use and use in general. So internet addiction, social media addiction, physical or mental implications that can come from using the metaverse all day, such as anxiety, depression, obesity, alienation from the real world. And we see that happening already, where people get so involved in their social media lives and worlds. We've seen it play out in film and in television, right? Where people get so sucked into a game world that they become a part of it. So while these have been fictionalized things that we've seen in pop culture, it's something that really is a concern for folks. It's happening already, where people are addicted to social media, addicted to the likes, addicted to the followers that they have. And so when you start really interacting with these folks, traveling the country, meeting with these people in Paris and the like, you can alienate yourselves from the real world and from the things that are happening around you. On top of the fact that it can cause so many issues. I mean, we find ourselves in a pandemic world where people are complaining about new illnesses just from being on their computer all day. I broke my or ended up having a really serious issue with my pointer finger. Initially, there was a thought that it was broken this spring, and a new fracture has been around called mouse fracture, when people use their mouse too much, right? So and thus it's causing these issues, and that came about during the pandemic, or people saw it more in the medical world during the pandemic. So there's so many issues that can arise, or concerns that people have about the metaverse itself, that we have to be careful of as we explore this new world, and really try not to let the metaverse take over our real universe that we live and have to work in every day.
So there we are. We gonna be there, y'all. And this is the things that they're creating, you know, that could be, I guess, anybody's avatar, as we create these verses. But anyway, I just thought that was a good graphic just to put up. But okay, so Dr. Draper, what were you saying before we went to the concern?
Well, no, I think she was about to add, you know, sort of a weigh in on these concerns itself from her perspective. I know she wears multiple hats where those concerns can play a major role.
So I think another concern before we get the Afro fact is that we were created to be in relationship with one another. We are still human beings. And we don't want to lose sight of that, as we have discovered during this almost 2 year period, that when young people, and not so young people, are isolated from human contact, all kinds of issues and problems crop up. So I don't want to lose sight of the human interaction, um, as we go deeper into the technological world and the benefits of it. Everything has still needs to be done with moderation and with the recognition that we were created to be in relationship with one another. And I don't know that I'm ready to co-create with a avatar, but that may just be me.
Absolutely. When you say that, I guess the relationship, like, it's funny because I've been a gamer since Atari came out and all of that stuff back in the day, but I have little kid friends that I know as their gamer tags online. And
Right.
even before the voice over IP, games were using voice over IP.
But you can't touch them, and
No,
so we're created.
you can't touch them
Right.
like that, like physically touch
But I'm
them.
saying how we're created. We're created to be in relationship where we can touch one another, so they can be our friends. And I ain't trying to get in the bed with the computer, or avatar. But y'all go right on with the discussion.
No, I was just making a point that there are relationships that are formed, but
Yep, absolutely.
but they're different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I don't think no avatar babies are gonna be had. But anyway, that's a whole nother.
My point was, sometimes what happens in all of these, not all, in many things that are new and things that we go into, they supplant certain things. So I don't care how many great lessons young people have had on Zoom, we can see the mental stress
Absolutely.
for the young and not so young.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Man, it is the holiday season that quick. And I don't know how many years we've had Mrs. Santa. But if our producer can just put, yeah, there you go. Text Mrs. Santa. Okay, because of the pandemic, we haven't had as many families who signed up and are saying that they need this year. And the Afro has always given back. And the Mrs. Santa program is, I don't remember Mrs. Draper, but it's over 30 years or 40 years old.
Oh, it's older than that.
It's older than that. Okay, it's old.
It's like 80, 90 years old.
80 or 90 years old, Mrs. Santa has been around bringing some love and some cheer to children for years in the DMV area. So text Mrs. Santa, text Mrs. Santa to the number above, and someone will get back to you so that we can bring some Christmas love to some children that won't be receiving it this year.
And it's for donations too, Kevin. So if you know a family that needs help in the DMV area, or you're willing to help, and every little bit helps.
Absolutely. So text Mrs. Santa to the number that was just up on the screen, because every little bit helps. You'll be surprised of just the thought of what just a small donation can do in a child's life, especially not only during any season, but especially during this particular season. So we are getting close to wrapping up Black People versus the Metaverse. Are you thinking about it? Do you know about it? Do you own any digital real estate? Do you have any cryptocurrency? Do you have a wallet? Do you have an exchange? Where are you in the process, or do you care? We put it out there. We just wanted to get your wheels and gears to turning so that you at least know what's happening. What you do with it, you know what I mean? Your decisions will determine your destiny, whatever those decisions are. I stick with that. Final words on the Chicken Box about the Metaverse. I'm going to start with you, Misha. Your final words today about the meta.
I'm going to actually give the Afro fact.
Oh, Afro fact.
I'm going to give it this time. Okay, so this week's Afro fact was inspired by the December 8th, 1956 edition. And the headline read, Dr. Granger's Two Wives. Now, Dr. Granger was not living in the metaverse. Dr. Carl Granger had divorced his wife, Dr. Marie Granger, in Mexico in May 1953, and then began living with his new wife, Mrs. Helen Hochschild, since their marriage in November 1953. But apparently, Dr. Granger's Mexican divorce was not legal and had been done fraudulently, thus making his marriage to Mrs. Hochschild bigamous. And the Mexican divorce was illegal because Mrs. Granger was not present for the proceedings, nor did she have legal counsel. Further, Mrs. Granger and Mrs. Hochschild lived in the same Long Island township, ran in the same social circles, and it required Mrs. Granger to clear her marital status and her reputation. And so that's this week's Afro fact. And it was all up in the Afro in 1956.
Man, that would have been a reality show, right? It was just like the great Dr. Granger and Mrs. Granger over here, and the Mrs. and Mrs. Granger just traveling in the circle. Anyway, final words on the metaverse. All of these extensive archives and stories, I think you could spend years, literally years, in the Afro archive before you got through every story. And did you say over 4 million pictures? Some never ever seen. I mean, these are classic pictures. Riding on the bus with Jackie Robinson. Just amazing moments in history that have been captured and that will be available soon in the NFT world. We've been wondering why we had these pictures all these years. It was just for a time such as this. Final words, John, on the metaverse, or anything you want to share about technology.
Yeah, finally, I just want to say, learn this stuff, get familiar. Technology is advancing, and we must move with it in order to succeed in the future. It's just like Noah. He told him it was going to rain, and those said, well, it ain't rained since years and years, but it rained, and we don't want to be left. Get involved. The financial shift is here, and we have to get involved. We have to. People always say this. People always talk about the wealth of the wicked, the wealth of the wicked. I learned it till you get in their systems, till you pull from their system. You'll never have the access. So we're in the system, but we're not of it. Just like Daniel. Daniel was in Babylon, but the system changed him. So this metaverse is we not, for me. I'm involved, but I'm not of that system, but I'm in it to benefit, to reach the masses, and especially our culture, our color. So just be encouraged, people. Studies, wallets, get involved with cryptocurrency. Learn all you can. We can continue to go forth, and you all be blessed. And thank you, Calvin, for letting me speak. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Dr. Draper.
So thank you, John, for being with us today. My final word is, this is a multi-generational show, and a lot of times we make assumptions about who is and who isn't interested or capable of doing whatever with technology. I think so. What I want to say today is, regardless of your generation, money is still green, and so I want to say, in the Bible, and since John started preaching up there, bringing up the Bible, right? David repented for a whole generation, even when he didn't do it. And so I'm gonna repent on behalf of the boomers who sometimes don't have kind things to say about millennials. And I hope some millennials will do the same, because we're in this thing together. Everybody can make money. And so sometimes we label people, and even in the commercials, we make fun of people's age, whether they are young or whether they're old or whether they're male, and so we make all of these stereotypical jokes about, listen, this is about leveling the playing field, that everybody can jump in regardless of the generation that you're in. And so there's some boomer gamers, there's some millennials that don't game, but for this metaverse, whether we like it or not, is coming our way. So we may as well take advantage of it and participate in it, because technology is not going anyway. And so I appreciate this show and think times that we can really talk about it.
Absolutely. This has been
I'm done.
this has been the Chicken Box. I'm going to give my final words. We are moving from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, which Web 2.0 is what we live in now. It refers to websites, applications that utilize user-generated content for end users, focusing on user interactivity and collaboration. And the difference, as you hear about it and as you begin to learn more about it, is 3.0 is more focused on technologies like machine learning, AI, relevant content for each user instead of just content that is providing for end users. So you'll see things and you wonder, like you'll speak sometimes and say, hey, I was just talking about that. And then an ad pops up about what you're talking about. It becomes scary. You know that everybody, they're listening to every single word you're saying, but that is how the 3.0 is changing from the 2.0. And remember, the 1.0 was dial up and just was sent information one way out. And it was no social media. It was no end-to-end user. But now the new change is here. And they're gonna really move from 2.0 to 3.0, especially next year and into the future. So continue to learn, continue to understand. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Chicken Box, where you get to speak your truth, whatever it is, whether it's right or wrong, it is your truth. And here at the Afro-American newspaper, we appreciate the fact that we're owned and operated by African Americans for over 130 years. Follow us on IG, Instagram. They said, I'm so tired of these people's platforms. I really am. Because they say you need to get to 10,000 users and we're going to give you the blue check mark. Because the blue check mark does what? Allows you to post a link directly into your story, into your post, instead of someone having to go to your, anyway. I wonder, almost digitally cussed in my mind. But we hit 10K, and thank you everybody else. So please continue to support us, because we're going to be the voice of the African American community on all platforms, as well as our own, which is afro.com. So for less than $2 Uber Eats, please get a subscription. You can get a digital one, an NFT one, or you can get a physical one, which is our legacy edition, which, yes, the newspaper still does exist. And some of the front pages are just good to hold and great to frame. So until next week, everybody, thank you for joining in to the Chicken Box, and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. I like that. We got a producer now, so she just does it. When we say something crazy, I want you to put that chicken up there again. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dr. Draper, for hanging out with us. Have a great day.